Good morning, winners, and welcome once again to the Wrong Button podcast, where we talk all things nerd, most things video games, and generally anything that tickles our fancy. Today, I am lucky enough to be joined by, I'm guessing it's now my sensei, SenseiJei of the Kai Club.
Hi.
Hey, so I always like to do a bit on here. To start off, I found you. I had started getting into or getting back into first person shooters, mainly Apex Legend and the I'm going to say what is now the mainstream, which is battle royales. And I came across your channel because you have quite the extensive knowledge of battle royale and I would say first person shooters in general.
Yeah, I mean that would be first person shooters have always been my go-to. Starting with the also popular Call of Duty Modern Warfare on the PlayStation 3, I believe it was. So
Yep.
it was always my go-to. Starting at a very young age, that would be the game I would play every day after school, high school with the friends. Back then that's what it was. Obviously now, being of age, you always see those memes or those TikToks where you see like X amount of years ago you're like a group of four guys, and then X amount of years later it's just you by yourself. So that's kind of where it's at now. But doing what I do and meeting new people online, you always have someone to play with. There's always someone new that engages with you, and you get to play with them. And yeah, the first person shooters, love the genre. Like I said, my go-to. And then of course, battle royales becoming a thing. PUBG obviously being the OG.
Hmm.
Uh, that kind of got everyone sucked into it, right? So yeah, that's it. That's what I go to.
And and honestly, it was fantastic to find your channel. I grew up same as you are. I'm guessing we're both early 30s. Um,
Yeah, actually, with exactly a week from today, I will be turning 31.
oh, congratulations! I turned
Thank you.
31 a week ago. So
Oh, happy belated birthday.
thank you. Happy early birthday to you.
Thank you.
Oh, this is going to be fantastic because we're both going to be hitting hitting that prime.
Y-
Because
Yeah.
like you, from my first person shooters, I think I remember playing like Rainbow Six on the N64 a little bit, and I got
Oh, yes. Yeah. I mean, if you want to go way back, we're talking 007, right?
yeah, double.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I remember that I remember that like very early on at friends' houses, but no. So you were also like me. I take it your introduction to first person shooters then was, and I'm gonna say modern first person shooter was gonna be will be Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Yeah, that was the one that got me like really sucked in, and also like brought out that competitive side of the gaming that wasn't really there for me at that age, right? Because still kind of young. It was like early high school days. But before that, it was like I said, 007. There was even Counter Strike. Like Counter Strike was one of my first PC games, right? Because being very young, it was just mostly consoles, Nintendo 64, Super Nintendo, all of those. But when I got my hands on my first PC, which I got into a lot of because my dad was a big PC guy, because that was what was up and coming at the time, right? We're talking Windows 95 and everything. And then so Counter Strike 1.6 was the first uh, shooter I played on PC. But it wasn't until modern Call of Duty Modern Warfare on the PS3 that really got me like into it and had me like really attached to the first person genre.
So we'll go ahead and we'll hit up that first. And so you said you started with Counter Strike 1.6.
Yeah.
Um, I have never touched a Counter Strike. I'm sorry. Uh, God, that sounds well. Yeah, there now because there's now Global Offensive and everything else.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never touched because I know those are referred to as like Twitch shooters almost. I think is what they're called.
Um, I'm not sure of what the term is, but it plays a lot different from what the I want to say the generation plays today, like the battle royales and the fast pace. Counter-Strike is more of a like a chess game in comparison, because it's really depends on your positioning and your accuracy, right? And the gunplay is really not the same. Like there's recoil control to really worry about, that plays a huge role in comparison to like games like Call of Duty and things like that.
Where it's a little where Call of Duty and I would say Apex, since it's kind of the original team that made Modern Warfare. It's that arcade feel where it's guns feel different, but it's like this is a shotgun, it fires slower. This is a submachine gun, fires faster.
Exactly, exactly. And like Counter Strike was developed as a game that would, you would never play that on controller. It's mouse and keyboard, and that's it. So
Hmm.
obviously with controller players, there's the aim assist, which is it's a good thing to have. But
Hmm.
Counter Strike is not built on those type of mechanics, so it does play entirely different. That's my opinion on it.
No, as somebody who I can speak to only the console side, I'm still very much on consoles because it's uh, easier to justify those once every 10 years to the wife than like, hey, I need to upgrade my rig. Uh,
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
so I'm still very much on consoles there now. So being that you started with Modern Warfare, now you're playing games. You said PUBG, of course, the OG. The past, I'd say 2 to 3 streams you've done between a little bit of Tarkov and
Yep.
then a little of Apex Legends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, with with the I'm almost gonna say saturation of the battle royale games, do you have a way to like say this is what I want to play and focus on? Because I know you've touched on it lightly in your streams. Is just what kind of is hot now, and what do you stay to like be like, okay, this is what I'm gonna grind.
Yeah, I think saturation is a good term to use. It's definitely I would agree to say it is saturated, but it's saturated because it is what a lot of the people want to play today.
Hmm.
Um, there's still people that are coming in and playing games for the first time. People who've gotten their first PC bills and are all excited to play these battle royales that they might have never played before. Versus, the older, a little bit older generation, who, like I said, they playing PUBG from the beginning and like have played every single battle royale that followed, whether it be Fortnite, Warzone, Apex. There's the other ones that I can't think of, but there's been so many versions of battle royales that I think you know some majority of people are feeling it's saturated and are looking for something new. But I don't think the genre itself isn't going to go anywhere, because it still is very, 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 very popular,
Hmm.
and it really is the games that are most played at the moment. So, and a lot of times you want to be playing games that a lot of others, whether it's friends or whether it's other people, just in general, to make sure that you're not playing a game that has like no lobbies in it or anything like that. That you're gonna go back to these games. So I'm gonna go back to Warzone. I'm gonna go back to playing Apex. Like I took a big break from Apex, but
Hmm.
I'm seeing some online buddies get back into it. It gets you to start wanting to play it again. And there's always like for Apex as well. Just recently, I believe they just released their new map, just like Warzone released their new map. So that too brings back some of the audience that might have been like, you know what, I'm kind of a little tired of battle royale. Let me go back to something that is more arcadey, or something that just has like deathmatch type game modes, right? So there's always new content that brings you back, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's disappointing, and that's it. So for me, going back to Apex, it's like, okay, I haven't played it in a while. Some of my buddies are playing it. Let's just try to get back into the rhythm of it, and I've enjoyed it for the last. I'd say it was like a solid week now, a solid week and a half. I've been playing it, and it's fun.
Yeah, I your streams definitely echo that sentiment. You've been having a lot of fun. I know you seem to gravitate more towards snipers. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I enjoy that. That would be my go-to. Even in a slow game like Tarkov, I that would be the play style that I'd want to do, or want to use. But I'm not as skilled or as experienced in card Tarkov as I would be in like Warzone. Let's say, like, I have a lot more confidence in playing a game like Warzone versus a game like Tarkov, because those are kind of two completely different games.
mhm.
Yeah.
Now, with the games being different, and especially with streaming on Twitch and going back and forth, like uh, PUBG, I'm sorry, Apex Legends, I'm guessing feels pretty different from something like Warzone, because I know we've brought up and talked about both of those two games together. Do you ever have trouble managing, hey, this is how I'm playing because of the game I'm playing, or are you able to kind of flip back and forth and be like, okay, I'm in like Apex mode, this is how Warzone plays, and I can just switch how I control and how it feels?
I could only do that with, like, if we were to compare, um like how you're saying, how do you compare Apex to Warzone, or how you compare Tarkov to Warzone? I could easily switch back to Warzone because it's the Call of Duty roots that I mentioned earlier, and that was the game that in high school I was playing every day with friends. So like I've literally played almost every Call of Duty up until Vanguard. Like I didn't purchase Vanguard. Um and so going back to Call of Duty is going to be always easy, but I don't play enough as much as I used to.
Hmm.
Um, and so like when I do like when I did go back to Apex now, I do have to adjust. I do have to practice a bit. It's not something that's like, oh yeah, I'm super confident with my movement and my aim and everything like that. Like I'll struggle a bit. Like I have to play it a bit, warm up to it a bit. Versus if I were to just take a whole month off of Warzone, or a whole 2 months off Warzones, and then go back to it, I would be super confident, and I would I would be very comfortable with the way I'm playing. But with games like Apex, or even going back to a game like PUBG, which is like I kind of have going back to Super People, trying
Hmm.
out Super People, which is I would say a PUBG clone with its own added elements and like skills and characters and things you could play. That I had to adjust to as well, and like I still haven't gotten used to it, you could say. So yeah, there is a difference, and um, I can't easily flip flop unless it's going back to Warzone.
Okay. And I know you've been playing Super People a little. I saw that one a little bit. I didn't get to see as much in the gameplay. Um, but if you don't mind, we're going to switch gears a little bit. We're going to focus a little bit more on mechanics for the games,
Sure.
because Apex Legends, Call of Duty, very arcade.
Yep.
Point shoot, very much like, hey, I'm just going to run down and uh, trying to think about the best way to put it. Where it's uh, I'm going to point my gun where I pull the trigger. That's where the bullets are going to go. If you're kind
Hmm.
of in here, that's where it's going to hit. Aside from a sniper rifle,
Yep.
with uh, PUBG, with Super People, it looks more very much like, hey, if you've got a weapon and you have it on full auto and you start holding down the trigger, it doesn't work like that. Like, you will be shooting at the sky if you keep holding it down. Do you have a preference there where, hey, I prefer playing more of the realistic, where it's like, hey, if I have my first shot lined up, I pull the trigger, good trigger control, it's going to work? Or do you like that arcadey, I can run, slide, and do all that fun video game stuff?
That's a good question. I I want to say my preference is more of um, the arcadey gameplay. And I might get a lot of slack for this, but I actually really enjoyed the one version of Call of Duty, which was Advanced Warfare, which is focused a lot on movement
Mm-hmm.
and getting out of the way. But I do like both variations, because one is kind of like faster paced. You don't have to worry so much about like controlling the recoil of your guns. There is,
Mm-hmm.
but definitely not as much as you would see in games like PUBG or Super People, right? Like in those games, it's you really gotta have good skills with controlling the recoil. That too, you have to have a lot of practice with those kinds of games, versus Call of Duty, which it's easier to like get used to. But I do enjoy both. I respect both. Um, but I would always lean more towards the Call of Duty side of it. The reason why I would go back to PUBG or play Super People is because like for example, Super People, it just came out. It's got a little bit of hype. The friends are playing it, so I'm like, what? Let's give it a try. Let's see what it's about. Um, but it's not a game I would play every single day.
Yeah. And honestly, the I tried playing Advanced Warfare, so uh, I didn't like it as much because I couldn't figure out the movement from like because you could do air movement in that game very
Yeah.
very well.
Yep.
But something like Titanfall 2 I could still jump on to this day, and I think is um, a solid arcade first person shooter. It's probably one of my favorites there.
Yes, yeah, that's like a combination of the movement you'd see in Advanced Warfare, or even I would say Black Ops 3. I think it
Yeah.
was they introduced the wall running with the Apex gunplay and movement because it's the same company, right? So
Yes.
yeah, Titanfall 2, a fantastic game. I've played it as well, um, and I think going from Titanfall 2 to Apex, it really captures what they their movements, their gunplay with the also popular battle royale genre that has come to be what it is.
Uh, so with because you said you played, you did play back in the day, and you said it brought out the competitive side of you. Uh, how do you feel about now with the competitive nature? Because I know esports. Um, I think you and I are going to be a little bit old to join the esports league. We would get the esports beer league probably in the next 5 years.
Yeah, yeah.
How do you feel about because I know especially when probably oh god 5-6 years ago Call of Duty tournaments were huge. Rainbow Six, the team based tournaments were massive. League of Legends has always been
Yep.
massive in its own right. How do you feel about the especially Fortnite making it popular, where it's like a battle royale tournament, where it's like, hey, we're gonna have 100 people and they're gonna just play against each other in battle royales. How do you feel about that as one of the new directions esports is going?
I think it's good. It opens up opportunities for people who, like, let's say, only play the battle royale genre, or like only play Fortnite. I think it's a good thing. Yeah, I think it's good for competitive gaming. It's its own variation. I know there's different types of tournaments for battle royales, whether it be like you said, if it's a private lobby where everyone's in there, it's last man standing, or the other popular one being race kill, right, where you play X amount of games in a certain amount of time, and then your top 5 games give you your team result, let's say. So I,
Yes.
I think it's good. I don't think it'll ever be as popular as League of Legends or Counter Strike and things like that, because those are games that have cemented themselves in the gaming community as the competitive games and like the original OG competitive games. So and these battle royale games, they come and go. Like on a yearly basis now. Whereas League of Legends, which I've gotten into again recently, has been around for, oh my God knows how long. I know when I started playing League of Legends, there was like 20 champions, and I think now they're up to like 100 plus. So those games will always have their audience and always be the most competitive, the most popular competitive esports games. But I think adding the battle royale games to the competitive scenes is also a healthy thing for the gaming community.
The and speak because I know you said League of Legends. It's been around. I remember when they like announced like the Jedi skin for Master Yi. It was about the only time I played it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, he was my go-to character. He was the one I would always play.
I remember when my friends tried to get me into it, and I would play as him just because he had the Jedi one, and they're like, you're terrible, and two, you're just one of those people that uses him, and I'm like, yeah, it's all I know.
Yeah, yeah, I was probably the same way.
The so how did it feel jumping back on League of Legends? I know, like for me, like I got my wife into it because when I would work, I would put on Sundays. I would put on like the league tournaments on the TV when we before we moved, and then Arcane just came out, so
Oh yes, Arcane. Oof,
I was
that's a
able to
good
be like,
show.
hey, we're gonna watch this animated thing, and she was like, actually, it looks really good, and she was the one who wanted to binge it pretty hard. How did it feel jumping back into League?
Yeah, I gotta say, I've watched Arcane. It's
Mhm.
fantastic. Funny thing, my parents even watched it, not knowing it's anything related to video games. They enjoyed it, so I was surprised when they told me they watched it. I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. The show's phenomenal, and yeah, it is because of that kind of I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go play some League of Legends, and it's for people who haven't played MOBAs. Um, it's a good game. It's a very good game. You have their competitor Dota, which is the equivalent, set in a different universe. Also a good game. But League, it's the original. It's the first. It's the most popular, and it's been fun. I've played it. I have friends. Those friends that I played Call of Duty with, right?
Hmm.
Who they stopped playing a long time ago. I kept going. I played all the Call of Duties except Vanguard. They're the ones who kept playing League, who never stopped playing League, who still play League, right? So going back, playing with them, it's them teaching me and showing me all the new stuff. The older dragons or whatever the things you kill them at. It's fun. It's been really fun. I've enjoyed it a lot.
So with League, because you have a history with League, you have a history with first person shooters. Um, I remember, and we're harking back to this winter, so please excuse this one. Call of Duty, when we started, Call of Duty Halo, it was, here's your guy, here's your select guns, go kill people, go capture a point, defuse something. Uh, there was just, it was you point click go. That was it of the game. Here's the
Yep.
objective.
Yep.
Now, especially, you've done it with Apex, and I think even Battlefield's done it for a while. And then games like Overwatch, games like Valorant that have come, I think it was Valorant,
Yep.
came out, where it's now you have characters much like League, where it's still a first person shooter, but here's your class, here's your character, here's how they play.
Hmm.
How have you felt with that being the new team based first person shooter?
I think I think it's good. I think it adds a little bit of flavor. Like I said, there's always those popular games like Counter Strike where it's just point and shoot and you play the game. I think with these games where they've added these selective characters with special abilities and things like that into team based games, is that it opens the opportunity for people to play maybe certain roles or certain ways that they're comfortable in playing. So like Overwatch, you know, uh, you could play as a healer where your ability to have to track someone and constantly shoot at them to eliminate them on the opposing team is not as important. Now you could just focus on healing your teammates. So someone who is comfortable with doing that, they could do it, right? So they
Mhm.
have that opportunity. So I think it's a good thing. It allows people to play games with people who like to play it differently, right? So I could be the guy who shoots the gun, and then I can have my teammate who just wants to heal me. So I find it's healthy. It adds variation, and it opens the door to other people who enjoy playing games.
I for me, it's been one of those where I've always been. I was a little torn when they started doing it. I think the first time I really got to like it was playing Rainbow Six Siege,
Mm.
because to me that game competitive was the best cross between a uh, real, like, trying to go as tactical, realistic as you could, uh, but then still having some fun and giving you some variation. So it wasn't just who got the first shot off. You could be good and help out in that game, not necessarily by uh, killing people, but also being like, you know what, I can just hold you off long enough to force you to have to make a mistake, or give my team just a couple extra seconds to get into position.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so
yeah.
that to me was my first experience. And with League, I think you'll have more of an idea on this one versus what I had, because it was a little bit more simple. I stopped playing Rainbow Six just after the multiple flashbang grenade person came out. Um, so it's just after like the Red Dragon expansion with Caveira and all them. How do you feel about now that when people play online? Because I know you've played with League, where it's like, okay, I'm gonna ban. You have a pick, you have a counter pick, and then you have to pick for a certain role. Uh, is that something where, like in League, that feels incredibly complex?
It's very complex to those who are just getting into League of Legends. That's for sure. But I think the majority of people who are playing League today are those who have been playing it for a long time. So they've grown to understand how to use that system, how to use it as an advantage, because it has become part of the game, has become part of the strategies,
Hmm.
and there are the core elements of the characters that you pick that everyone respects, right? So you have the top lane, the bottom lane, the person who jungles, and there's variations of characters for each role, and there's just so much variety that of characters that allow you to, like, let's say you want to be a jungler, there's so many different characters that you could play differently but still fill that role. So it is definitely something that it would that takes getting used to, and something that you really have to learn versus just jumping into a game and playing it. It is I would say complex for anyone who's like, hey, what's League of Legends? Let me install this and play it.
Hmm.
You're gonna be you're gonna walk into a world of hurt at the beginning before you start like really enjoying the game and then understanding how all of that works.
And I know for League of Legends, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I know you have to play like what is it, almost 10 games against just bots, and then you can do unranked, and then it's like level 50 you can start playing ranked, so you can't just go in and like.
Yeah, so the last I saw, it was, I think, I don't know if it's 10 games versus bots. I know there's a few, like, you have to go through a tutorial, you have to play a few games with bots. But then I think it's level 30, just playing regular casual games, and then you go into the ranked mode. But even the casual game still has that same drafting system, right? You
Mm.
could play it where you draft your characters, and you ban the characters as well. So, but yeah, level 30, and then you could play ranked.
Now, I know for League of Legends, because you said getting back into it, going back to a little bit more on the first person shooter side of it as well. Um, Games now that have taken this League of Legends idea where it's like, hey, here's your character, here's a class. There are multiple different ways to play it, so it's not just like, okay, you have a healer, but you have a long range healer, an AOE healer.
Hmm.
DPSs can be different.
Hmm.
Is that something where, especially being like, because your focus is on the community when you play those games, do you think when it comes to a first person shooter, the games need to be refreshed or almost rebooted more often? Like Rainbow Six Siege, I think they're up to what, almost 25 operators, and then I know uh, Overwatch is up to a higher number as well. Do you think that somebody trying to jump in later in that is now held at like more of a disadvantage, where it's because they didn't get in on the ground floor, it's kind of less inviting?
Ooh, that's another very good question. I did. I want to say a yes a bit, because I did play Rainbow Six when it first came out. Like, I played it
Mhm.
when it first came out. I put some time into it, and then I stopped playing it. And then when I did go back to it, which was much later, I was seeing all these characters and all these different tactics, and I was like thrown off. I couldn't keep up. I was like, it's almost as if you need to know each and every character so you know how to counter that character, right? So going a bit back to League, if someone were to pick character A, and you're choosing next, you want to make sure that the character you're choosing counters that person, right? And that you know how that character works. Because if you don't, you could be thrown off by the abilities they're using against you, or how they move, and things like that. So yeah, I would say it is a disadvantage coming into these games later that have added all this new content. But then again, if companies were not adding new content, they might be losing the players that are playing their games, and that they might leave because it starts to become stale or something. So I think it's good for the game, to keep it going. That constant content is being added, but people who are just jumping into the game will have a much bigger learning curve versus if you were there from the beginning and you've seen the game grow.
Do you think then because I know League of Legends does it where you rotate out unless you've like physically bought the heroes. I think you can always pick them. Uh,
Yes, yeah. So they have a weekly rotation. So I think that's a good thing that League of Legends does, because it adds different characters in the rotation, which allow you to play them, and kind of learn them, right? Whether it's playing them or playing against them. I think that's a very good thing that they did, right?
Mhm.
And there's so many different characters in the game.
Would you, if let's say Rainbow Six or Valorant or Overwatch did something like that, especially for ranked matches, would that be? Do you think that could benefit the first person shooter industry as well, especially when it came to those core team games, uh, or do you think it's like, hey, no, they need to keep it as open as they can?
No, I think that would be a very good thing to add because as team based games, if there's a character out there that you haven't played because they're locked behind a paywall or and most of the time, the longer you play these games, you earn the in game credits and you could just purchase the characters later on. But I think adding them in the rotation and allowing you to play them as a trial, let's say, gives you the opportunity to discover them and see and say like, is this a character that I enjoy playing?
Mhm.
Is it a character that it would be good for the team I play with because of how I play? I think that's good. I think that would be a very good thing to implement in any team-based games. I know in Overwatch the characters that they release it's just everyone gets to play them, but they don't have as much variation in comparison to like League of Legends or Rainbow Six. So it's obvious that game companies are gonna find a way to put that either behind a paywall or make it so that you have to play the game extensively so you can unlock those characters, and that's business. That's fine. But I do think adding in some sort of weekly rotation to play characters that you don't have unlocked is a very good thing, like League of Legends does.
The because that's always been one of my one of the things that I loved about League when I would have friends play it, they would always be like, "Nope, you have to learn a new character. You need to do things like that." But I know, especially for myself, when it came to playing Call of Duty, and when I was younger, didn't have as much money, I might not get Call of Duty the week it came out. So playing it online, a month and a half later, would sometimes feel like you were just getting your like teeth kicked in because you didn't know the maps, you didn't know the new weapons, the new meta.
Yeah, yeah,
So I've always wondered like, hey, would this with how the meta works in games now, with a lot of games going like class based, if that would be something where, hey, we should probably think about doing this to make the game feel a little bit more accessible to people.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
do you have? So I know you said Call of Duty. You've also played a little bit of Halo. Were you one of those people that was? Because you said you played Call of Duty 4 on the PlayStation 3.
Yeah, I was a PlayStation boy.
Okay. So
I was.
did you play the
Uh,
Resistance or Killzone games?
Resistance or Killzone games? Oh
Yeah.
wait, I played Killzone, but only because on the PlayStation 4,
Uh huh.
I think it was. I had the man, I don't know what they're called. I guess the Joy Cons of the PlayStation. They were the big I guess
Oh, the glowing
handheld.
for their yeah
Yeah,
their Wii thing. Yeah.
yeah, their Wii thing. I had that, and I swear, I probably still have it somewhere. But I had like this plastic modeled gun that the Wii PlayStation Wii controllers went into,
Yep.
and there was a Killzone game for it. So yeah, I did play it, but
Yeah,
not.
Killzone 3 did that. You could play it as you could play Killzone 3 that way, and then you could also play
Yeah,
SOCOM Navy SEALs that way.
yeah. I did play Killzone, but it wasn't like I didn't play the first, and I know there was different ones, but I only played that specific one. And I would only play Halo when I went to like my cousin's house because they had the Xbox,
Hmm.
and I didn't play it multiplayer. I just played the story. So I was young when Halo was like the popular thing at the time. But I was always PlayStation. But I did because I did mention before, and it was Call of Duty that brought out the competitiveness in me, and then I mentioned um, Advanced Warfare, and I enjoyed Advanced Warfare so much that was the game that really made me want to go competitive in general.
Hmm.
And so I went out, I bought the Xbox because that's where the competitive scene was at the time.
Hmm.
I got the Advanced Warfare version of the Xbox. Like I was hooked on it. So I did eventually switch over to the Xbox, but then I did go back to PlayStation, and then now like it's PC.
Sorry, I'm gonna sit here. I didn't even know Warfare Xbox they had that.
Yeah, yeah, they did. I think I have a post on my
Oh,
Instagram. Uh,
wow.
I have a post on my Instagram that I took a picture of it. I was like super excited about
No,
it.
it looks. I'm looking at it right now. It looks sick as if you want to relive that nostalgia, you can get it for like $100 some places, $250 on GameStop.
Oh,
Like I'm serious. That
It-
is.
it- even the button on the front, like, because when you would push the Xbox button, it would make like a simple sound. But
Mhm.
this version, oh, it made like this advanced warfare sound. It was something else. I was obsessed with it, and then even the controller had its own like little skin on it, which was really
Yeah.
cool.
Because I remember when Halo Reach came out, like I had a friend who got that, and you would turn it up, and it would sound like the Halo shield recharging.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And I'm like, oh, those are little subtleties. I know the PlayStation 5 is getting skins, and the PlayStation 4 you could get like the PS2
yeah.
skin. So when you turn it on, it sounds like you're turning on a PS2.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I think I have that on the PS4 right now. I think I have one of the OG PlayStation sounds. It's fun. It brings back that nostalgia. It's nice.
it does. Okay, so let's go. Let's talk a little bit of. We're going to talk a little bit like old school COD. Do you have a favorite? Were you like a hardcore, or did you prefer?
Oh,
Did you prefer just regular?
yeah, just regular. I didn't play much hardcore. It was always just a regular one because that's a lot what a lot of my friends were playing.
Hmm.
And so we never really got into the hardcore version of it. But no, it was always just a regular pubs.
Okay. I see. I got into hardcore because like when I was God, I was like 16 at the time. Um, it was like I was getting ready to run off and join the military, and I just remember that being the like no, this is what it's really like.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and it's like two shots, and then I played as an adult. I'm like, I feel like you grazed my arm, and I fell over, and I want to know why.
Hmm. Yeah.
Are you a capture the flag, or were you search and destroy?
Oh, search and destroy. Yeah, that's because of the Counter Strike.
Yeah, I felt like that was for most of us, like because I remember hearing about Counter Strike from all my friends with
Mm,
computers, and I didn't have a chance to play it, so it was like my one chance to kind of understand what they meant. Because I would also say that Call of Duty brought in aiming down sights
mhm,
as something here. Actually, uh, we're gonna do one more thing on mechanics before we switch over and continue down like nostalgia road. New realistic shooters. So I would say your PUBGs, your Rainbow Sixes, and I would say probably Battlefield. How do you feel about games making semi-automatic weapons feel more viable? Where if you're decent with trigger control, you're able to probably get a kill faster using semi-automatic than say somebody uh, with a fully automatic weapon.
yeah, I would. I think it's good. I think it's good to have a balance. Definitely, depending on the situation you're getting yourself into, it would be advantageous or it'll be a disadvantage, right? So obviously, if it's close quarters, that automatic submachine gun is definitely gonna, outplay someone with a semi-automatic gun. But in terms of long range, yeah, medium range to long range, those single fire long range guns definitely shine in comparison. So I think it's definitely a good to add variation and not just have like run and gun, and submachine guns can shoot someone at very long distances and be overpowered. I think it's good to have gunplay as realistic as it would be to real life, um, and it again it allows people to play the way they feel comfortable playing. Right. I remember when the OG times playing. I think it was Modern Warfare 2. It was the one gun I would always play with, and I think it was the FAL. It was a single tap. I loved it. I was always long range engagements,
Mm-hmm.
and that was it. Like that was my style back then. It was playing way back, playing slow, and just taking out people from a distance. Now I like to obviously switch it up, and with these battle royales, there's so many different situations you could get yourself into, right? And having the ability to have two guns so easily, you could have that long range sniper on your back or single shotgun on your back, and then you could have that submachine gun for when you get into that close quarter. So yeah, having guns, balanced enough and having the variations is very good. I think a very very good thing to have.
You said the submachine gun shouldn't be able to like pick someone across the map, and I just started looking at the Call of Duty game, or I'm sorry, the new Battlefield, because I'm just like,
Yeah. Yes.
ah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I don't think so. Like, I'm no gun expert. I have shot some real guns in real life, but I'm no gun expert to say whether or not an SMG could in fact kill someone at that long range, but I think in the gaming world, um not that it shouldn't, but it shouldn't be so easily done, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
you don't want your gun to be completely useless, because if that's like your go-to gun,
Mhm.
it has to do something, right? Versus it being able to do everything. Like, I don't think that should be the case. It should
Uh,
do something, but not everything.
you're right. SMGs they do lose effective. I'd say probably about like 30-40 yards.
Mhm.
And that's like single shot. Being careful with it. Just Battlefield right now. Like they'll be on top of a building. I'm like, why did your PP19 kill
Yeah,
me?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, feel that. The um so switching over a little bit now. You go by when you stream. It is SenseiJei. It is
Yep.
SenseiJei TTV or Twitch TV. Of course, I'll have links in the description of the podcast. On there to switch it up here, you because Sensei J and then Kai. Is it Kai because of
It's
uh
it's it's Ki.
oh, it's Ki. So
Yeah,
it is based off of energy, not like Cobra Kai.
yeah, yeah. No, that's correct. So Ki is like is what you would shout in like a karate class, right? So like
Hmm.
I come from a little bit of a background of martial arts, so that's kind of where I got my inspiration to have like this character, if you want to call it, or just persona of the Ki, and then coming up with the Ki Club. It's just kind of it just came to my head that way, but it does like represent the energy. And it's like I said, something that you would shout and doing maybe like at the end of a combination or something like that. So, uh, yeah, that's yeah.
Okay. So you said martial arts. What did you were you was it karate or were you uh mixed?
Yeah. So, starting at a very young age, it was karate for many years.
Mhm.
Then after that, it turned into kickboxing.
Okay.
Then after that, it turned into a bit of mixed martial arts. And then kind of ended with just boxing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking to boxing myself. Like I was in the military. I was young and dumb, so my knees. Uh, I can't necessarily go out and do karate anymore because the knees might hate it. But I can box to keep
Mhm.
in decent shape.
Yep.
Do you have a preferred martial art now that you're like, you know what? I this is the one I think I've enjoyed most studying and practicing.
Uh, out of the four, if you want to say, whether it be between karate, mixed martial arts, kickboxing, or boxing, I'd say my preferred was kickboxing. That was the one I really enjoyed, simply because of like being able to throw the kicks and being able to throw different variations.
Mhm.
There was obviously some kicking in the karate phase, but I was young then, right? When I was doing kickboxing, I was like my high school days. I was a teenager, so it was more like I'm in my prime. I could do more of these fancy kicks and things like that. So I really did enjoy kickboxing. So that would be like my favorite, and then after that would be like boxing, because then again, this was like I did those at a later age, so it was like that became more technical, and more of like a workout, and something more serious.
Did what got you into to martial arts in general?
Um, I don't I, I don't know. It was something that my parents had put me into when I was young,
Uh huh.
and I just it's one of those things there where your parents, they put you in it, and if you like it, and if you don't, you don't, right?
Hmm.
They never forced anything on me. So they said, "Here, go try karate," and I did it, and I enjoyed it, and then I just kept going. I think another person who helped me continue going with it is my sister, because she is in love with the sport. Right, to this day, I would say she never stopped. And today she's actually a personal trainer and does like privates for boxing and teaches boxing classes. So she definitely kept me motivated to keep doing it.
Uh huh.
But now, as of lately, and then the situation with COVID, I haven't been to the gym. I haven't gone to do the boxing classes. So I do a little few things at home every now and again. But I do have to step back up into getting back into the exercise routine.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people it became like investing in almost a home gym.
Yeah.
Uh, I got lucky. I I go to a gym owned by like a veteran, so he very much closed it down. But if you had the code, he was like, "Look, if the police ever come in here, I'm just gonna say you're trespassing." But it would be a bunch of vets that would still go in to work out, and I got very lucky with that. Like we were all social distanced, but um, I've always enjoyed martial arts. I was waiting for you to say like, "Oh, I watched Power Rangers as a kid," because you would have been like
Uh,
that era. Like, "Oh, I like Tommy and Jason." I've been like, "Yeah, respect. I feel that."
No, no. Well, you could be right though. I did watch. I didn't watch Power Rangers, but I did watch a lot. I did watch a lot of Dragon Ball Z. So yeah,
Mm.
maybe I do remember. Imitating the moves and things like that, and like I know karate, so I could do some of these things. And but I did have like some of my closest friends who did karate with me at the time. They stopped earlier,
Uh,
and I kept, like I said, I kept going because of my sister. And so yeah, I did watch like those types of shows that would influence someone to do it, but I wouldn't say that's what kept me going.
fair enough. It's once it became like, what belt do I get the Kamehameha at? You don't.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay. I'm gonna go home now.
yeah. A little disappointment there. I'm like, what? I can't do it.
No,
Yeah,
that's awesome. I'm glad that you had someone to keep you motivated with that.
yeah,
And now you also the other night you've been playing a little bit of Zomboids, which looks like somebody took Diablo 2, slowed it down, and then made it about zombies and survival. Um, and you were
yeah,
playing that with Mrs. Sensei.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Yeah. Well, I do like to play a variation of games, right?
mhm.
I'm always looking for something new. I'm not at that age where I'm just gonna just grind out one game and try to be as good as I am at it, right? I'll flip flop between games, and I think Project Zomboid is just like it's a whole different genre, right? I did play a lot of Don't Starve Together with the Misses as well. That's a game that we really enjoyed, and it's
Uh-huh.
kind of got the same feel where it's like it's a survival game. You're gonna eventually die in the game. The purpose is not to live forever, but it could go for a long time, but you will eventually die. That's the purpose of the game. And it's just a change of pace. It's a game not everyone will enjoy, and it's a game that some people will enjoy. So it's just to change up the pace of things. And I know the wife really enjoys it too. So it's a game we could play together. She's not gonna enjoy playing games like Call of Duty or Apex. So those are not her type of games. She likes Don't Starve. She likes Project Zomboid. She likes Luigi's Mansion, things like that. Games that
Yeah.
are you know uh, lack of a better word, easier to play, but like slower paced, and then like simple mechanics. Even though Project Zomboid is very complex and there's a lot of things you could do, it still has its simplicity to it.
Yeah, so I have my own missus who I can get to play some games, and it's kind of like I would say like the easiest thing to equate it to is like being like, hey, let's play a game where she can kind of like run, jump, swing a sword, like a Zelda. She enjoys something like that, but
Yes,
then
yes, perfect
you add like
example.
two to
Yes.
three levels of complexity, and it begins to get a little bit out there. Does so? I take it, do you and your, because I got my wife into gaming. I think I showed her Horizon Zero Dawn. It was the first game that she was ever
Yeah.
like, "This is really cool," and we started kind of getting into it and vibing off of that. Um, did you? Has your wife always been into games with you,
She
or?
always into games. Yeah, yeah. Like when we first met, I was lucky enough for I was lucky enough to have her enjoy gaming, right? And she motivates me, and she keeps me going with gaming, right? She doesn't do anything to like you know uh, stop playing or things like that. She's been very motivating. She's very supportive of it. And yeah, luckily enough, I she did play a lot of games before we had met. So we do play. We've had times where we just sit down on the couch and play games together.
Mhm.
Those single player experiences, of course, are like some of the best ones. And then as I've gone into streaming over the last few years, we did actually couch stream the entirety of Last of Us 2, which has been our favorite series so far.
Oh, that's really cool. So I met my wife, like high school sweethearts. I met her through
Yep.
ROTC. Did you meet your wife through martial arts?
No, I met her in high school.
Okay.
I was still doing martial arts when I met her.
Uh-huh.
And then she was super supportive of that as well. She's just like, oh, okay, that's cool, and it obviously kept me in shape, and she liked that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, high school sweethearts, married, and then on our way to have a child, actually.
Yeah,
First one.
congratulations.
Thank you.
So do you want to go ahead and announce here while you're having
Yeah,
a
yeah. I mean, that's what's happening right now. We're gonna have a girl. There was a reveal that we did yesterday, and so it's gonna be a girl, and that's it. We're looking forward to the new chapter in the life. I think we're of age, right? I don't
Mhm.
want to just be sitting down playing games, and that's all I do. And obviously, I don't do that. I do spend time with the wife. Right now, I've only been streaming like 3 times a week.
Uh-huh.
And then she does her stuff while I'm streaming, right? She has her little hobbies that she does, so it's a good balance.
Mhm.
But I think we're of age to bring it to the next level, if you want to say. And we're extremely excited, and we couldn't be happier.
All I was thinking there was there's a John Mulaney bit where it's like we're ready to take our relationship the next level, and it's like meet each other's parents, and it's like become parents. Like, oh
Yeah,
no, that
yeah.
congratulations. That is fantastic.
Thank you, thank
Um,
you.
and I know you're excited, happy, healthy. Of course, is always the best way to go.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
do you? So you and the missus have also done. You guys streamed all of Last of Us, but you guys like to do, uh, like any Minecraft stuff like that, or
There was a point where we got into it, but I would say at the time we picked, like, for example, Don't Starve
hmm
over playing something like Minecraft. Minecraft is, I would say, a very fun game to play
hmm
as a couple, but it wasn't something that we I would say got addicted to. We had other games that we enjoyed, but she really does. She really did enjoy playing when she was very big into games. She enjoyed the Kingdom Hearts series. That was PlayStation 2 and 3, I believe,
yeah, great series.
and then the fourth, PlayStation 4 had the last one that came out. So she really enjoyed those. And then other than that, it was playing the single player games. Like, we loved Horizon Zero Dawn. We absolutely loved God of War, Red Dead Redemption 2, all those amazing single player games. We would play it. We would share the controller, and we would just sit down on the couch and just play that.
That's that's really that's really cool.
Yeah,
It's always cool when you can kind of meld hobbies, or you have some hobbies that align like that, that allow you to do that. I know my wife and I were taking the weekend off for Horizon Forbidden West, because
yeah,
there's a game that we tried. We were going to stream it, and then we're like, this is kind of like our game. I didn't know if you guys had that, where it's like, I know you said you streamed Last of Us 2, but I didn't know if you had a game that you were like, nope, this game is for us. Where this is something that we share. We don't necessarily put out to anyone else.
yeah. We've had a lot of those games, and not to say we would only want to keep it with ourselves. It's just at those times, like, we weren't really considered like, oh yeah, you know what, let's stream this. It was just kind of like, let's just do it, me and you. But I don't think we would mind streaming it or not streaming it, right? Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, that's really awesome. And yeah, thank you so much. We're hitting about that hour mark over here. Um yeah, so where can we find you? Because I know I'm actually sitting down on your Twitch page right now, and you've
yeah.
got 2 days before you're going to be streaming again. So
Yeah, well, I might have a little stream later today there with the missus playing Project Zomboid, but yeah, right now primarily you could find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/, SenseiJei altogether. That's JEI at the end, and that's primarily where I am. I do try and stream every now and again on YouTube, just to kind of expand the audience.
mhm.
And then I post some clips on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Um, so yeah,
All right, yeah. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for it was fun, like rehashing classic first person shooters now that Modern Warfare is considered a classic. Um, oh, actually, real quick before we go, how did
yep.
you feel about the remake of Modern Warfare?
The remake of Modern Warfare, it was just there was the multiplayer as well. Yeah. I I was okay. I was okay with it. I didn't think it was gonna last. I didn't think it was gonna be as popular as it was. But I'm not surprised on how quickly the audience kind of left it. I think a lot of people. What happens a lot of times, people get hyped over this because it's the nostalgia and it's the
Mhm.
remake of the nostalgia. And once they start to play it, they then realize, yeah, I didn't really need this, right? Uh, so it's like I'll wait for the next game, or I'll go back to what I've been playing, for the last 6 months, right? It's kind of like a trip down memory lane, and
Mhm.
then you get over it really quickly. So I think it's good. I think it was fun to bring it back for those who played the original game. The newer generation are like, oh, okay, well, that's great.
This is what you
Versus,
had.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Versus, the older people who are like, oh my god, this is like my roots. This
Yeah,
is this is where I was. This is high school days. So yeah, there was definitely a lot of people who enjoyed it, but got over it really quickly because they're like, yeah, okay, it was fun while it lasted.
that is no. I completely understand that. I didn't. We still win a Chackle like the story for the channel, so I haven't done that yet. But I wanted. I figured you'd played it because I haven't played a Call of Duty in a hot minute, but that one looked really good. But yeah, thank you so much for being here. As always, winners, you can find Wrong Button Podcast on YouTube // Wrong Button, as well as Apple, Spotify, and your podcast platform of choice. Once again, SenseiJei, thank you so much for joining us here and being willing to be interviewed on a podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's my first one, and I gotta say, I really enjoyed it. And I think you did a phenomenal job. Your questions were pretty spot on, and you asked a lot of very good questions. So thank you.
No, you made it very easy. Yeah. So remember, guys, you're all winners out there. Have a good one and keep it weird.